Artificial intelligence, real estate, and you.
Yeah, whether you're a little scared about it or you're all in, today we're going to talk about all those things, pros and cons, how to do it, how to actually, jump in and start playing around with AI on the Wandering But Not Lost podcast.
You've reached the WBNL Wandering But Not Lost podcast, where real estate and reality meet. And now your hosts, Jan O'Brien and Matt Emerson.
Well, welcome everyone to the WBNL Wandering But Not Lost podcast, where real estate and reality meet. This is episode 267. Jan O'Brien, we're getting dangerously close to the 300th episode. Kind of interesting. Anyway, you can find all those show notes over at WBNLpodcast.com.
Are we going to do this till like we're really old and grayer?
I was going to say, I can't get much more gray than I already am.
Why would you?
We're going to do this until
I'm artificially colored.
Well, there's that. Anyway, we're going to do this till we don't have anything to say.
Absolutely. And I pretty much think as long as we got breath we're breathing, we'll be doing it. All right.
That is right. There you go. Anyway, we're going to talk about AI today. I'm excited about it because I can't say that I'm necessarily a total and complete convert, but kind of am because,
it didn't take you long to make the switch.
Well, here's the deal. I still believe that it is going to do some damage to just people in general. But at the same time, you can't just let the train pass you by, right?
Well, you're thinking it's like going to take people out of jobs, but then I think it can create more jobs and different types of jobs. You're worried about the dumbing down of American.
That's what I'm worried about. That people will utilize it so much so that it kind of stops thinking. That people don't expand their minds on their own.
Yeah.
Although, depending on how you use it and what you use it for, we're going to talk about a lot of that today. I think that takes, that can actually help you think more because you have to actually think to make it work.
Great point, because I feel like, if you really think to the point you're worried about young people of the world, not even be able to express themselves. I saw a great post about how the lack of people reading good books and how for years now it's been, well, even when I was a kid, it was get the Cliff Notes version. Now it's literally how fast you can just get the bullet points so you can pass a test.
Right.
Versus what that does to people's language and how people learned how to converse better through learning, through reading books, for example. And now everything's in short text and so forth, right? Yep. That's been happening for years.
Sure,
but I think you're right about this point of AI as we're going to talk about it today and how you can start using it in your real estate business. But there's a process here. And you just hit on something that I think is really important. You won't get the most out of AI if you're just short and you can't really speak clearly and think critically yourself to give it the right prompts to give it what you want.
Right. In order to
maybe it's going the other way.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's easy to jump onto one side of something, but when you start really playing around with it and learning more about it and diving in, you do start to see different perspectives and different ways that, you can see the other side. Because to that point, how you were showing me the image that you were creating, think about what you had to do with your imagination of what you were looking for and what you actually had to write. It's amazing. So there is a growth, a thought growth process with this. And regarding people losing jobs, I was thinking about this, I think about this a lot. People that are in, that do graphic arts and are in marketing, there will be people that will be probably hurt, or will not stay, or they'll have to augment their process.
Or will they integrate the power of that to be better at creating and marketing and changing the way their business is?
Right. You have to morph.
You have to morph.
People have to morph, but that's not really where I was going with it. I think that society has gotten so used to the Amazons and to all that stuff that the Etsy world has really changed a lot of shopping, right? Because now people can create on their own. For crying out loud, there's 8 billion people on the planet, 8 billion people. So, there's a lot of, consumer out there to go for. And I think in a way it might actually increases the access for the small guy to do work. So I think that there's even an opportunity for, yes, some jobs are going to go here, but other type of jobs are going to open up in other places.
You know, you got me thinking about some other stuff. This is not exactly where we're going on. This is good conversation. We are going to give you some good tips, but this gets us thinking about it, because you're right. The work just in our business right now, Cosmo and I are seeing so many people who have morphed into a position that, because of the pandemic, they are able to be remote. I would say more than 50-60% of the people we helped this year are choosing to move to Las Vegas because they can work remotely, and this is where they want to be for lifestyle costs and compared to where they've come from or what they want here. But your point about like the Etsy, the small business entrepreneur, there's an economy for that. Absolutely, because of social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, social media, you know, support a local business for some creator who designs jewelry or mugs or shirts or something. Is really, I support that. I buy stuff like that all the time. And I just got some of those, like, there's people that have 3D printers. They've invested in those 3D printers and they're designing these really cool 3D things. And I don't know, just, you know, you have an opportunity to recreate what you could do. And if you understand how to get yourself onto those places, you could really do something you're passionate about and make a living doing it.
Absolutely. And I think so many people are, well, you know, just look at how people have become, you know, and I hate the word influencer, but this whole influencer world, you know, on social media, how people are having full on total, you know, businesses and livings out of the money they're making off of that. Right. And I think not we all, but a lot of people poo-pooed that for this longest time, but it's there. And, you know, so this is it just keeps growing. So, you know, it's all about living with, you know, in the, what is it? What do we call it? Living with a bountiful living. No, what's the expression?
Maybe, but listen, maybe we're talking about this because in the near future, couple years, we are going to be doing some upcoming podcasts around buyer value proposition and dealing and talking through these various lawsuits, that the plethora of lawsuits that are popping up daily, that are going to be everybody jumping on board to go after all the big bad real estate companies. You know, it's going to impact our industry. So I'm not saying that you need to get out and start an Etsy shop. However, you do have to start thinking about how you're going to morph and you're going to change with the times and learn how to be, which is always what you have to do in real estate, is to see what's happening, see where the trends are happening, and make those adjustments now so that you're not left behind.
Yeah. Okay? So I guess,
then again, you might want to go start an Etsy shop.
The point is, it's an exciting opportunity. You know what I mean?
I'm joking. But
I don't know. Hey,
I don't know. Whatever you want to go do. So let's jump in and talk about AI, real estate, and you, episode 267. Look at Matt's cool images. There you go. So the genie is out of the bottle. So why don't you share where you even got some of this language, Mr. Emerson?
Well, actually,
the genie out of the bottle is great.
Actually, Genie out of the bottle was not an AI-driven thing. That was just something I actually came up with because, or I'm sure I'm not original on that, but it really is like that. And I think a lot of people are thinking about that. You know, the genie can grant 3 wishes, but it can also bring a lot of terror to you as well. So there's a lot of mystery about it. So anyway, that's where I got that. But I'll tell you, Jan O'Brien, and you know this, I have been really playing around a lot with AI and just how to utilize it in business. And we'll talk about that more as we go through the day here, or the presentation here today. But I'm really finding it, the more you're in it, the more you learn, the more it can do. And it's a fascinating thing.
Are you enjoying the learning process? Like we were
I think that's,
because that's what I feel like it is. It's a learning
honestly,
process. I think that's creative process.
I think that's the part I'm enjoying it the most, because contrary to what I had in my mind, it was going to take away creativity. In a way, I think it makes you more creative.
I agree. So let's wrap our heads around what we mean here. And of course, if you're listening, you of course have heard of ChatGPT or AI, and you're, unless you're just really living under the a literal rock. But here's where we want to just put a couple things out there. It's not a replacement for you. Okay. I like to continue to think of it as your virtual digital assistant, like that has more intelligence. Like literally, if you could conjure up an assistant that you're really not paying for unless you upgrade to some of these tools that we're going to talk about, minimal costs, because you can get the free version of ChatGPT, which we're going to talk about if you're not doing it. We're going to recommend that you dive in to use the OpenAI version. There's a Bing Bard, there's a Microsoft Bard, there's Google has something else. You could jump into whichever one you want. We're going to talk about ChatGPT because that's what we've been using. So don't think of it as like go in there and ask it to give you something and then cut and paste. Use it as a creative tool to get ideas and get things flowing, and then you continue to make improvements. We're going to walk you through step by step on this. So again, it's not replacing you, because that's not what we don't want it to do. We want to co-create with it. Maybe that's the good way. It's a co-creator.
I like that. That's very good.
Now, AI applications are everywhere. I mean, just since Matt and I have been talking about this in the last few months and starting to play with it, every time you turn around, something you're using, for goodness sakes, Zoom has an AI integration now,
Yep.
which will take notes in your presentations and provide everything that happened, and like great opportunities for coaches in a Zoom application where you can put a call to action together, and this is everything that you talked about, and take notes for your meetings. It's crazy. It's in Canva. Matt, talk about it. What's in Canva?
Well, just about every page on Canva, or anything you're doing in there, there is an AI application in there, and it's what it can. Well, it's really just like ChatGPT. All of these different applications have that same kind of basic outline. But as far as it will design presentations for you. It will certainly write dialogue and text for inside your presentations, and or headlines, or just for social media or anything like that. It is an amazing assistant within Canva, which is already a great assistant.
Right.
You build, so it's pretty amazing.
It's the next co-creator assistant in there with you in Canva, helping you to get better. And MailChimp is something we use to send out our emails, and in our team. And there are integrations in that now to help you write better emails. We use Kajabi as our learning platform, and it has it because the emails, if you're on our mailing list, we use Kajabi, and Matt has been playing with the AI that's in Kajabi.
I have, and what's funny about it's like Siri and Alexa and all that. A lot of these platforms are naming their AI assistant, and in Kajabi, it's Amma, AMA. And, so I'm doing my prompts. I'm like, hello, Amma, blah, 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 blah. Well, I come to find out that Amma is an acronym for Ask Me Anything.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that cool?
Everything's been getting us used to this, because if you've been having Alexa or Siri, you talk to it like it is a sentient being that's helping you do what you want. And it's learning, right? It's learning all the time, because Alexa and all that will start to tell you it's time to order this, or here's where this is going. And so this is where we're headed, folks. And so it's
interesting
and have fun with it.
Yeah, getting back to Kajabi for a minute, it's so interesting. I have found myself a couple times when I'm writing an email or doing something with bullet points or putting like pros and cons in, that I'll put my list together, and then I'll check it. I'll check it versus the AI and see if I missed anything.
I love it, right?
So what I mean?
An editor? So you're using it as an editor as well?
Yeah. So I'll write my whole thing, and then I'll put my whole thing in as the prompt, and we'll see how, it's like, shit, see if I even said one time, see if I've missed anything here.
That's brilliant.
And they're so polite.
We're saying, we're trying to get you, if you're not used to this yet, to see that, to learn from our learning curve. Okay. And I was a little frustrated in the beginning, because I was just being so, specific. I was being too general, and I wasn't getting the results I was looking for, but I realized it's because of me, not the AI. A couple other things before we move into some applications some ways that you can use it in your business. The standalone, there's a million of them now, just like anything. As soon as anything's out there, it's like every developer, programmer is coming up with something, just like the number of CRMs that are out there.
Yep.
Here's a new AI application that you can get. So you can get Chrome extensions that will enhance ChatGPT. There's anything you can think about, it's already being designed and it's out there. Now, there's two in particular that we've been playing with. Opus Clip is a must if you do long form videos. So we basically are using this for our podcasts and our YouTube videos. You have to pay for this. It's relatively, I don't know, I forget how much it was, $12, $13 a month, just like everything.
It's like buying a streaming service.
It's like buying a streaming service. So Opus Clip allows you to take a long form video, put it into the AI of this platform, and then it takes and breaks it into clips for you to put it in short form video, vertical form. Or you could do it in any format, actually. And you can say, I want it to be under 30 seconds, 30 to 60 seconds, longer. So it'll take your long form, especially if you're a YouTuber, cut it into clips. But then where the AI comes in is it rates it. It gives a numerical ranking from 100 down, and then it tells you why it's a compelling clip, what you might need to do to enhance it, and then it will actually put the captions on it for you.
Crazy.
Which saves so much time in editing. And then you can even edit in there. You can change it. You can edit it. You can change the colors of the captions. So you can go put it on Reels or TikTok or YouTube Shorts. And then Big View, I love because we write scripts. And so Big View is something that allows you, if you're using your phone, you can write your script, put it into the teleprompter, if you will, and then you're maybe filming yourself for a video, and you can see the words that you can see now it's not recording the teleprompter script. It allows you to use your phone, so you can be looking into the phone, which is what you need to do when you're doing a video, so people realize that you're looking at them, versus looking down at your script. It's brilliant, and it also will put captions on your videos for you.
It's very cool.
So we've got 11 creative ways to use AI for realtors. So first one, brainstorm content ideas for your social media and for your videos. Now we're just going to walk through these, then we're going to break down the structure, because everything is about a prompt when using AI, ChatGPT, or AI. We'll just keep calling it AI, I guess. So brainstorming content ideas is brilliant, because you could go in and you could say, please give me a list of 20 ideas for social media posts about the process of buying a home. Okay. And then it will break it down. And then you can even go further and just take one idea and ask it to write your social media post, including hashtags and keywords, or to write, number 2, a video script for short form videos. So you can have endless ideas in there, and then take one idea and then break it down into, I'll do something like, please provide a 1-minute script on this topic, and then it will, when you use the word script, it's very important to be specific in your languaging, because when you say script, AI is going to give you a script that says opening scene, and it's going to say, you say this, and then go to a picture, and it'll give you the background images that you should do. So you can just say, give me a bullet list of 5 things a buyer needs to know about living in this area of town. And then include the pros and cons of this. So we're going to give you some prompts to give you an idea. But in the beginning, I was way too general, and I got general information. The more specific I got, the more specific it got. Number 3, video outlines and scripts for longer YouTube videos. So now you can say it's for a 10 to 12 minute video, and you want it to write the script and get into the specifics of it. Number 4 is important. Don't have it write a listing description for you. You write your listing description, for the MLS, which will go out onto all the listing portals. Get it to enhance it. And there is actually a template inside of ChatGPT for listing descriptions. Hard to explain it here on the podcast, but there is literally a template that already has the prompt built into it that you simply have to say, how many words, what is your description, give the information, and then you give it, one of the other things you do is you tell it to write it in a certain style. When you have it write it in a certain style, you have to learn the descriptive languages. In fact, I used AI to give me the list of the best way to write prompts with descriptors in the tone of voice, because I was like having a hard time explaining what I wanted it to do. Right, Matt? It's like, what's the tone of voice? Do you want it to be, do you want it to be fun? Do you want it to be humorous? Do you want it to be formal? You have to really think through. This is where the critical thinking comes in. You have to come through and say, how do you want this to be displayed? How do you want it to come across to your audience is a better way to say it. So use it, number 4, to enhance or rewrite your listing descriptions so that it's more compelling and not a list. Like, people write the most boring listing descriptions. in all caps, and so many people in mine.
Here's the deal, real estate agents. I beg of you, if you do nothing else with AI, everybody should use this for their listing descriptions, period. End of story.
Listing descriptions are your ad.
That's right.
For consumers who are sitting there waiting for a match to come up on Zillow or Redfin or Realtor.com. And when it says 2-bedroom, 3-bath, and all this abbreviated language, it's not selling your home. And now the one thing caveat I'll give you is make sure that right now I haven't played with it enough to ask it to see if it understands fair housing violations. So you would want to make sure that there's not any fair housing. Remember, you write an ad for your listing, and I consider the listing description an ad because it's going out to all the portals like Zillow and so forth. So you need to not describe who should live there. You just should describe the benefits of the home. Okay, that's how you stay out of fair housing violation land. Okay, number 5, social media posts. Oh my gosh, I'm like literally mean social media posts with breaking down your ideas it'll give you, the next 20 posts, including, the most compelling and things that are going to help it show up for.
Yeah. Like emojis and hashtags.
Emojis is the word I was looking for. Yeah. Right. I mean, it'll literally have the emojis and the hashtags if you ask it for, and you can cut and paste. You can cut and paste. And what I do sometimes is grab it and then I just might enhance it a little bit. Okay. So if you have a hard time writing, those times are going to be over. Now, if you have a hard time writing, you still may have a hard time until you learn how to get it to teach you how to teach it to do better for you.
That's right.
That makes some sense.
No, it does make sense. And that's exactly what you have to do.
Number 6 is newsletter content. So you can take and it's really funny. Let me tell you something that happened to me, and I'm going to test this, Matt. So I had ChatGPT open, and I think if it's open in my browser and I was over searching for things like I was looking for, I have to see if I have it closed, will it do it? But I think if it's open, so let me just explain what happened, because Matt already knows. I was like, okay, this is a little bit freaky because I did a Google search because my key fob on my car wasn't working. And then I went into ChatGPT later, and there was information on that I didn't prompt it and ask for, but it had looked at a search that I did, and it had literally given me the stuff I had been Googling about what could be wrong with my car if my car doesn't start. And I was like, okay, that's weird. But this happened again to me, but I had ChatGPT open, and I was working on my November newsletter for market updates. And so I had Googled Las Vegas press release, October housing stats, and it had a whole, it wrote a press release for me. Okay. Now I didn't ask it to do that, but I had it open and it was integrating into my Chrome, and I might've put a Chrome extension or something in there that integrates with my
that's
Chrome.
Probably what it was.
It's doing that for me, but it's so powerful because it can get it to help me with my newsletter content, or you could take an idea or something that you're using and then have it rewrite it in a different style and write your content. Okay. But you can just simply give it please write a blog post of this many characters or words describing the pros and cons of buying a multi-generational house. I just actually did that the other day, and it was awesome. Why would a buyer want to use what are the reasons for a buyer to consider a multi-generational home? And I have a great content for an article. Okay.
What's so wonderful about the way that that presents the data back is that it presents it back in the format that is easily readable by the consumer, right? There's always bullet points, almost always, right? Mm-hmm. Everything is small, the paragraphs, it's just, unless you say, write a thesis, it's going to give you something that's consumable.
To your point, you can say, write it at this grade level, or
that's
write
right.
it in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can literally do all that. So it's not all verbose and it's shorter sentences and all that. So again, it's garbage in, garbage out, right? It's the same old story with anything related to computers or artificial intelligence now, is that you need to be very specific in what you want. And that's where you have to learn how to be better and clearly communicate.
Yeah.
Number 7 is email marketing. Why don't you take this one, Matt?
I'm just telling you, it is absolutely amazing what you can do, because this can be a really hard thing when you're trying to do a campaign, especially. First of all, it can be kind of a laborious task, to go in there and create that. But if you go in and say, hey, create 10 short messages to my whatever. I mean, we're going to talk about the prompts because the prompt is so important, but you can easily just tell it to do a full-on campaign for you, and it will do it. and then you can just put it somewhere, copy and paste, and then always, like Janet has been saying, you're going to want to go in and tweak it a little bit and maybe add your own flair to it. But it's amazing what it can do for you to save time. And I think that's really the whole key.
Honestly, isn't that what we're talking about when we talk about it being your digital assistant? It's a time saver if you learn to use it properly.
Right.
Social media ads, obviously, you could write it in the perspective of asking it for an ad for Facebook or with what the goal is and so on. Again, we're going to show you the prompt style here in a moment or talk to you about it. Number 9, writing prospecting scripts. This was so cool. I've played with it now to go in and say, I'm an experienced real estate agent serving the Las Vegas area. Please write a script to call a for sale by owner, talking about the pros and cons of selling the house on your own. Okay. And then it literally created a script for me to call. And it said like, hello, is this the owner of, like it wrote the script, and then and then you can keep enhancing. That's one thing too. When you start to write, use AI and you're using ChatGPT, for example, you would put something in and then you can have it refine. You can keep asking it, refine it using this tone. Then you could take that example of a prospecting scripts to, which I thought was brilliant. Okay. What I got, and I did it for expireds. And then I said, please turn this into a letter, and it put it in a letter format that I could then mail to a FSBO or an expired.
That's amazing.
So writing prospecting scripts. So any kind of script, responding to an ad for a buyer that responded to this ad, write a script for what I could say. So no more excuses for I don't know what to say. You can come in here and use your good friend ChatGPT to talk to you about how to write what to say to your people. Okay.
Great.
Number 10 is landing pages. So if you're doing a lot of things on websites, if you're running ads, Facebook ads, for example, on get a list of all distressed properties in the area or all properties that are under a certain price point, and that's in the ad. And then they need to land on a page that is, you need to think about, if you're going to spend money on ads, you do not want them to going to your homepage. You need to drive people to a place where they may interact with you and give you their name. And
there's a call to action. Absolutely.
And you need calls to action, and it can help you build not just landing pages for sales funnels, but copy for your website. Okay. That's another, or any landing page that you're designing, and it will design it in a landing page style that
right. It's so amazing.
Work. Did you play with that, or Kajabi has that function?
I haven't really gone in to really play with that yet, but it does have that function in Kajabi.
And number 11 is SEO, search engine optimization. So when you are doing videos or social media posts, you can go further into asking ChatGPT to give you an SEO optimized headline and titles and keywords and captions and descriptions, hashtags for your posts or for your videos, which are all things that help, especially on YouTube, Google, and so forth, for your post to show up. Okay, so those are just 11 ideas, creative ways to start thinking about how to integrate it into your business.
Right. Awesome.
So let's talk about how do you get started, right? So if this sounds overwhelming, you're like, right, Matt and Jan, that sounds awesome, but what do I do? Well, our recommendation is you go to chat.openai.com if you haven't done so, and you create a free account. Okay. And that's just where to start. So remember, this is not Google. This is not YouTube, meaning in Google, you ask questions, how is this? What is this? Or find me that. Here, it's all about a prompt. With ChatGPT AI, it's all about the prompt. So again, we keep saying, treat it like a personal assistant, have a collaborative conversation. You need to teach it about you. So a lot of the prompts will be like you describing who it is, what you do, what's your company about, what do you stand for, who are you? You can build that in a chat and create the basis of that. What are your values? What are your brand values? Or whatever it is that you are as a baseline. And then you can start talking to it about what you want it to do and what's your writing style. So you're going to teach it about you, and then you're going to start writing some prompts, and we're going to walk through some prompt structure. But this is what I want to say to you. Go take a class. There's so many. Yeah. Go just watch some YouTube videos. Go to YouTube and and just start beginner's guide for ChatGPT and go find something that aligns with you, that calls out to you, or even put in, there's some people who do some videos on real estate in ChatGPT and AI. Mike Sherrard is one of them. He's got some pretty decent videos, but there's others out there that are teaching. You don't have to just have a real estate coach or trainer. Look for somebody who, just appeals to you, and then go learn a little bit about it. That's what I did. All right. And I went and got a couple AI mastery classes, and I just learned. This is what I was like, oh, no wonder it's not working really great for me, because I didn't understand this whole prompt structure thing. Right.
Yeah, it's valuable to do that. Take a little time, when you're out there, going through your deep dives and your rabbit holes of looking at videos. Those are great ones to watch.
Yeah. So there's everybody and their brother has created. That's any kind of marketer has got a course out there, and there's some. You can go to Coursera, or you can go to Udemy or something, and go find something, or just go online. And you're probably, as soon as you literally go do a Google search about that, is going to start seeing Facebook ads and Instagram ads for AI. It's going to come to you, all right? Because that's the way advertising works now.
Because that's the way AI has been used in advertising forever, right? This is not a new concept.
Getting to the point where you just think about something and you start seeing the ads.
That's right.
Well, not you just think about it. It's because this thing right here, depending on your settings, is listening and hearing what you're doing.
Right.
So there you go. Don't worry. It's just, it is what it is. Put all your pride, or get rid of everything that's electronic and go live off the grid.
Yeah, but like we were talking about earlier, Jim, before we started the show, it's like, yeah, AI has been around forever, but now you have access to actually using it. So in a different way than you were before, right?
And as I mentioned, there's a really cool templates function in ChatGPT when you're logged in. I'm just going to describe it. When you're logged in, there's a sidebar. There's a button near the bottom, a link that says templates. And when you go into the templates, it's going to say category, and it's professionals that you want to choose. You're going to see everything, like all kinds of stuff in there. And then you go to a subcategory, and there's one for realtors. And then what they have so far is you can select now a template, and you can do a cold email outreach, listings writer. That's the listing description thing I was talking about. It has buyer preparation. It has a real estate dictionary, which is really cool, because you can go in there and you can, like, say you want to do an FAQ series, a blog post or a video on, real estate terms, or it just pulls all that stuff in, and then you can create posts around what is earnest money deposit. Yep. Okay, things like that. So why the template is that the prompt is built in. The ChatGPT prompt is already built in. Now you just give it the parameters of what it in the topic, and then it will write it for you. All right. So go get an account and go take some classes or watch some videos and start playing with it. And then we're going to take a few minutes and explain this prompt structure that you'll get when you go watch a video. It's kind of hard to do on the podcast, but here's the deal. Think of it like this. The structure has action, format, role and style, and then the source, like who's it for. So action, start with a action verb: create, write, list, edit, generate. Now, this is where I am treating this as, a true digital assistant that has some intelligence, or is, not just an object. So I speak like I would speak to an assistant. I don't dictate and demand. I ask, and I use nice language like please. And I will say things like, thank you. Okay. It's kind of like Siri. Do you ever do that? Thanks, Siri. And Siri will come back with, no problem. However I can help you, Dan. And it's kind of fun. All right. So I always start with please. And then I will say, that's great. Could you redo this with this voice? Make it a more fun tone or whatever. And then it will come back and give you a prompt, right? Because it's programmed and it's learning, and AI is learning by, I don't know the numbers, but when ChatGPT came out, it went to however a couple 100 million users, and the fastest as anything ever has. Okay. And it's so now the point I'm making is that there's all this human interaction with the AI that it's learning how to do a better job is the best way to look at it. So start with action. Then you have to give it a format. And this is where you have to be specific about, do you want to outline? Do you want bullet points? Do you want it to be an article? Do you want it to be a video script? How do I want AI to output the answer? What's the format I want to receive it in? Do I want it to do anything in a specific way? Do you want it to be a certain length of an article written in a certain way, right? And that's what's next, role and style. So action format. And then one of the keys that I learned was please write as if you are a real estate agent in a friendly, casual tone. Okay, so you ask the AI to act as if it's a marketer or an SEO specialist or a whatever it is you're doing. And then insert the style. So is it concise, friendly, humorous, inviting, informative, persuasive? What's the tone? And then write in a conversation. So for example, write in a conversational tone as if you were explaining to a friend. You can be that literal with it, right, Matt?
Yeah, and the more you play with it, the more you'll understand that you can go even deeper than that. Like, you can write all of that initial that you had talked about in, like, in Henderson, Nevada. So I mean, it's just amazing what it will start sending back to you the more that you play with this and tweak with it. It's amazing. It really is.
And then the last part of the prompt is like, what's this for? What's the source? Who or what is it for? So here's an example. Write for an audience as if they're first-time home buyers in the style of a college graduate, 7th grade reading level, a well-known public figure. That's actually something I learned where and I don't like this because you don't necessarily want to, I think this is getting into copyright infringement. Like it will do, there's stuff out there where you can create an avatar and you can write in the voice of Morgan Freeman, right. Or you can write in the style of a poet, Maya Angelou, and it will literally write, frankly, the creative side of this is it can write music and poetry and a song for you in the style of some well-known musician or artist in that style. So it's even that deep and crazy. So action format, what do you want the format to be? What role and style are you asking it to do? And then, who's it for? Okay, so you start with that. And then it's going to be a good starting point for you to jump into, learning how to do it.
Yeah, I had written one of our emails I sent out actually was very heavily AI driven one time when I asked about the pros and cons of AI. And I asked it to write it in a humorous tone. And it came back it was well done. I mean, it was
kind of in Matt's humor style.
Well, that's the thing. It was so weird because it did because I thought I'm going to have to rewrite a lot of this, which is fine, right? Because that's what I like to do. But it kind of captured me in a lot of ways. It was really interesting. I find the whole thing crazy, crazy fascinating.
So again, there's a little bit of a process. So you can write your first prompt, then you get a response. Then you can ask it to rewrite it or change the tone. And then you keep working with it until you sort of get the output that you want. And again, I mentioned be polite and conversational. Please generate a list of blah, blah, blah. Please rewrite it to sound less formal and more conversational. There are also, you can give it constraints. So you can say things that for a YouTube title video, for example, here's an example of a very specific, because if you know what the parameters are and how many characters you can have in a tweet or a YouTube title or a whatever. So here's an example. Use ideally 50 or 60 to 60 characters. Use universal language. Use shorter words when possible. No emojis, exclamations, or hashtags for this. Like it's a progression. You would have asked for a script on a specific title. You can get it to then write a title. Give me 5 titles that are search engine optimized and then put those constraints in. That's 50 to 60 characters. It's shorter words when possible. Don't put emojis or exclamations or hashtags in it. And you can give it constraints so you get what you want. So it's another way to think about how to get what you want. Like I was doing one on creating images because I have the updated, I purchased the ChatGPT 4, which has a image creator in it called DALL-E 3. And there's another well-known one out there called Midjourney. So people who are graphic artists and stuff are playing with this thing called Midjourney. There's others, but ChatGPT has one, and it's not perfect. It's like if you try to put text in there, it'll get the text wrong, but it'll keep getting better. But I was having it design something for me, and I had to keep on. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, but I realized I wasn't being explicit enough. But then gave it a constraint to say, give me that image and remove the text. And by giving it a constraint, then I got what I wanted, and I didn't get misspellings, and it just hasn't quite mastered the putting the text onto an image yet. And so it's really trial and error, and it's a learning curve, and it's everything that we've been saying. The more you work with it, and the more you have fun with it, and the more. But I'm telling you, we at the top of the show we talked about the creative process for me has expanded, because in the beginning I was a little bit, well, this is not really that great, and then I realized it's not it's me, right? And so I've had an experience of getting better but actually I've had to go learn. I'm not a natural graphic artist or creative or a writer, a classically trained writer. And so I really didn't understand all but I got AI to tell me what are the styles, what are the tones, what's the best way to write a prompt for this. And it will give that to you. And so then I created a document that had those things in there, which is really one of the things that we did was we created a document for you that we're going to.
What's interesting, you had talked about how not to treat it like Google, and the reason why you don't treat it like Google is because your assistant is going to go out and Google, so it's going to go out and do the Googling, right? And it's going to pull all that information together, and it's going to write it in a way that you've using the language that you asked it to write it in. It's just mind blowing. I keep saying that, but I can't even. It really is crazy.
Don't be afraid of it is the thing we want to say. Get out and just start where we mentioned just now. And honestly, why don't we just jump right in, because we kind of covered our examples as we went along. Let's give everybody, we put a quick start guide, if you will. What did you call it? I love it. It's a beginner's guide to real estate, guide to ChatGPT.
Beginners to ChatGPT. That's what we ended up calling it. So it was a really easy thing. But you're going to be able to go over to our show notes at wbnopodcast.com, episode 267, and you can download that beginner's guide. And there's quite a few more prompts than we actually talked about today. So it's all in there. You can just copy and paste those, or elaborate on them as you're going through the learning process. The 11 things that you can utilize in your business are in that guide as well, and just some other information about how you kind of just can utilize it in your business. And,
basically, the things we talked about today about.
Yeah, and, like Jan had mentioned, this isn't the only guide that's out there, for crying out loud. There's a million of them, but this is the way we started, and this is the way we started becoming familiar with the whole.
I wish I had this when I first was started.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why we designed this. And so then you can take it, then go learn some more, and then you'll start, you won't get frustrated as much as I think we did, because we didn't quite understand how to do it.
I was thinking about the whole process of, there are a lot of people, I'm sure, that will want to stay away from this because they don't want to get into it for whatever reason that it is. But I don't know. I think I've been overthinking this whole thing for the longest time, or thinking about it too often, because I was thinking the other day, I always do my morning routine, and I always go out for a walk every day. And I was thinking about AI, weirdly enough, while I'm out walking around. And I thought to myself, gosh, you know what? You can stay away from it because you think it's, going to, ruin the world or whatever you're going to do. But you know what? Here's the deal. If it's learning, and, the more information that's going into it, is helping it, evolve and change. Don't you want your voice to be a part of that evolution? Right? Don't you want to be someone that's actually, contributing to how it's learning, as opposed to staying away and letting other people do it? So that's my thought on it. So I want to be someone. I want to be someone that's helping it grow, as opposed to complaining about what it's doing. So there you are.
More Matt Emerson voices helping the AI evolve. So yes,
there you are.
That is 100% right on how I see it, Matt. So thank you for describing it that way. Yeah. So go help it evolve, and at the same time, allow it to assist you in reaching your goals and dreams. So there you go, folks.
Yes, absolutely. We're closing out 2023. We only have 4 weeks of podcasts left. I mean, oh my goodness gracious.
What?
It's coming to an end. Again, what's going on? We have one more Ask 5 coming up. Damon Caldwell, a manager and a team leader from Las Vegas, is going to be joining us next week or the week after that. We have our end of the year show coming up. We're going to have another conversation about how you can, what the best practices are, what you need to really focus on in 2024. And then if Jan and I feel like we have all the information together in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about how you can really improve showing your value to your.
We'll definitely talk about how to create your buyer consult, showing your value with understanding things are going to change, and you're probably going to need to do a better consultation and potentially do buyer brokerage agreements and so on. And we'll give a little update on what we do know from the NAR / company, lawsuits that are popping up everywhere. It's gonna take a minute for all that to roll out, but you ought to get ahead of it right now.
Absolutely.
In the news is every time you turn around, another class action suit is being filed, and they're going to continue, folks, because they're going. It's just what happens. There's a precedent case now, so attorneys are going to get together and they're going to run ads that say, "Hey, did you buy a house or sell a house? Rather sell a house, really, in 2023." And do you think you paid too much commission? Then you need to call us. So that's what they're already doing. So we're definitely going to discuss that.
Yes, I was talking about that the other day. That I don't know if on your, where you view television or see ads, the poor Camp Lejeune ads will be overtaken by real estate ads.
Yeah.
from
because look, they see dollar signs. When you think about the number of transactions, transactions are down. But when you think about the number of national transactions that happen, there's hundreds of thousands of them.
Yep.
That's possible plaintiffs, right? So, all right, Matthew, this is awesome. Let's go have a great weekend, because I'm coming down to the Anaheim area for an amazing weekend with you guys.
Jan's coming to Santa Land this weekend. So
we're going to go do some fun things. Maybe we could probably film a little impromptu podcast on out there. Who knows? You never know what we're going to do. So
you just never know.
All right,
everyone. Enjoy the holiday season, but remember, it's not time to quit. Not time to stop engagement. This is a great time of the year to re-engage with your clients, because you have something to talk about and wish them the happiness of the holidays and the new year coming up. So, don't quit yet. These 30 days, you might not be able to get something in and close an escrow in the next 30, although you might if you work at it. But you're certainly, once again, going to be building for the new year and helping to start your new year out right. So don't forget to keep working over the next few weeks. It's only December 1st. There's freaking 30 days left, crying out.
30 days, but work, get yourself ready, but use this time to go within as well and really get focused on what your 2024 is going to be all about.
Right. And we're going to talk about that. And on that note, we do have, to kind of get you prepared for our podcast that's coming up in a couple of weeks, we have created a download that we talk about every year this time called My Path. So go over to our freebies page, and we have My Path on there. There's also our open house checklist, 150 video content ideas, which now you can actually put that 150 into ChatGPT and ask it for 450, and it will give you 300 more ideas on there.
Right on.
Yeah, go over to our
update that.
Yeah, go over to
an AI updated version.
Exactly, on WBNLcoaching.com and check that out. But definitely go download our My Path worksheets and start thinking about that and filling that out. So when you listen to our podcast in a couple weeks, you will be ahead of the game. Wouldn't that be a nice thing?
Yes.
Nice. Anyway, everyone, as always, get up, get out, be festive, still keep working, and be forever wandering but not lost. We can call it whatever you want to. The slide says AI real estate and you. You can call it whatever you'd like.
I'm just going to start with that. And you embellish.
What?